social media and online lead, and I'm here today to talk about why I relay. And so it would help if I looked at this facing the right direction. So some of you may remember me speaking last year in April about why I relay. At that time, I spoke about how my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma while I was in college, how my mom was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer while I was in college, and stage 3 breast cancer 3 years later, and how she utilized the Reach to Recovery program as well as the National Cancer Information Center. I spoke about how my close friend Brittany was diagnosed with cancer while we were in college, and how she had to use the subway and also cabs to get to all of her treatments and surgeries. And I spoke about how my former coworker utilized the Road to Recovery program, which helped him a lot during his treatments get to and from everywhere, but he did ultimately pass away from cancer. So I wish that I could be up here today and repeat that exact same speech that I gave 14 months ago, because that would mean that nothing has changed in the past 14 months. It would mean that no one I know has had to hear the words "you have cancer" in the past 14 months, which I'm sure is what we all wish for. Unfortunately, I know 4 people who've been diagnosed with cancer in 2017 alone, and actually this past weekend, after I wrote the speech, 2 of my mom's close friends, including someone who I grew up with, actually passed away from cancer. So in January 2017, my friend and former coworker Kathy was diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time, and at that time she reached out to me because she knew I had been a caregiver for my mom twice before. I immediately directed her to the ACS 24/7 hours a day hotline, which is the 1-800 number, and that number, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's patient, empathetic, caring, and friendly volunteers who will answer the phone and direct you as a cancer patient towards resources that you have at your disposal, as well as direct you as a caregiver to resources you can have at your disposal. And they can just talk to you even if you just want to talk to them. I also directed her to the ACS website, which has a lot of great resources, as well as to the Reach to Recovery program, which put her in touch with fellow breast cancer survivors who could share their journey and help her through that process. On Thursday, April 6, 2017, my world turned upside down. That night I was getting ready for bed, and I decided I would call my mom just to hear her voice, and I had a feeling that something wasn't right, and then as soon as she picked up the phone, I knew that she wasn't telling me something. So after minutes of incessantly crying, I found out that she had cancer again. So the next month was filled with crying, worrying, lack of sleep, and the unknown. The doctors told us that this breast cancer was different than the last 2 breast cancers, and that it was very aggressive, and that due to the type of cancer, she wouldn't be able to have chemo and she'd have to get a bilateral mastectomy. So as an only child and my mom's primary caregiver the past 2 times that she had cancer, it was really hard to be 600 miles away while this was all happening. As some of you may know, I moved to Portland 2 years ago to work for Portland Public Schools from San Francisco. And in March of 2015, when I had begun looking for jobs, I was specifically trying to stay close by so that I could take care of my mom if her cancer came back. When I got the job offer to move to Portland, I was really worried that her cancer would come back for a 3rd time, because I didn't know who would be there to take care of her, who would drive her to surgery, to chemo, to radiation, who would be there to call 911 when she's having an infection and lying on the floor of the living room, who would help shave her head, hold her hand, etc. At that time, my mom, of course, told me that I couldn't put my life on hold forever and that I had to not worry about these things and leave, and so I did. And then, of course, 2 years later, when my mom did get a cancer diagnosis for a 3rd time, it was really hard because I was wondering why I moved and wishing that I could be back there with her. One of my main concerns at the time was how she was going to get to and from everywhere, because I was the driver before and now she didn't have someone. And so she joked that she would just take Uber or walk to surgery, which wasn't okay with me. And so I was freaking out, and a few of my friends from college were like, isn't there that free ride program that you've talked about with American Cancer Society? Yes, there is. But when you are, I can talk to you guys all day, post on social media all the time about all the amazing programs that ACS offers, but when it's happening to you or to your immediate family, it can definitely be hard to remember that there actually are things there for you and that you're not alone. And so I did tell my mom all about the Road to Recovery program, which does provide free rides for cancer patients to and from their treatments. Luckily, once she actually started telling people that she had cancer again, she had a strong support system, and so she didn't need to use the program, but it is there if she ever needs it or if any of you guys ever need it. So it's been 3 months since my mom received her cancer diagnosis, and in those 3 months, she's had a lumpectomy to remove the tumor, and she started radiation, which has the fun side effects of nausea and vomiting and exhaustion and burns. But that being said, she is pretty lucky because they don't think she'll need to get a bilateral mastectomy based on the tumor. So hopefully after the last 2 weeks of radiation, she won't need to do anything for the time being. And then, around the same time that I found out that my mom's cancer had come back, I also found out that 2 close friends had had their cancer return. One had her thyroid cancer come back for a 3rd time, and one had his prostate cancer come back for a 2nd time. I found out all of this in about the same week that my mom's cancer came back, which I think is just unacceptable, that 3 people I care about all had cancer come back in approximately the same week. And so this is just a reminder as to why I relay, and that I relay because this is not okay. I relay because I've seen how the money we raise helps people, and I know that we need to continue raising money to help even more people. And I know that the money we raise supports the research, education, advocacy, and services of the American Cancer Society. So I relay because I hope that one day no one will have to hear the words, "You have cancer," and I relay for more birthdays and a cure. Thank you.